Hi everyone, it's Vera with a reading for Black Moon Lilith going direct on Saturday, December 29th, 2018 as we move into the new year. And so it's going to be sort of a love reading for all signs. And so for the overall energy of Black Moon Lilith moving direct, I got the Two of Wands with Sarah and Angelina Grimke, from the R Tarot, which came out this year from Sarah Shipman. Anyway, so this is the receptivity card, but also it indicates a portal, which is a sliding door sort of thing, if anybody saw that old movie with Gwyneth Paltrow. But it has to do with shifting timelines, but also with not being afraid of being ahead of your time in terms of justice and love, as these sisters were early, I believe they were raised in a slaveholding family, but like sneakily taught some of their companions, slaves, to read, and also worked very hard for the abolition of slavery, and also for civil rights for women, for suffragism, so for women to have the right to vote, and also for the abolition of slavery in the U.S. Okay, so it is a receptivity to a world that is more fair and beautiful and true for all of us to live in fully in our integrity and the joy of knowing and being in our soul's true shape, and being treated and treating others properly. And this abundant love that is available to us. And then also, so the receptivity of looking forward, envisioning into the future, but then also pulling back from the future, or not pulling back, but receiving from the future. So that time becomes more permeable, and the thing that makes it flow is love. Okay? And that's justice is what love looks like in public, says Cornel West. And then, so all forms of love, community, intimacy, and then within yourself too. So the most private and public forms of love, and all of them in proper measure, and with each person creating a world where we can all be true in our own self-defined identity and integrity. That's a paraphrase of Vine Deloria Jr. Okay, so I will go on from here. For the cardinal signs, what you have to work with is magic in your sparkiness as the sight and instigator of renewal, and of newness and renewal. And look at, you have everything available to you. And I also wanted to say, for the space of Black Moon Lilith, that all of our talents, all of our labors, all of our capabilities and contemplations, all of that, anything that's been hidden, receives, maybe not totally publicly, but receives the accolades and the value that is proper to it. Okay, and so you have these great abilities, all right, in all aspects of your life and with all aspects of your talents, cardinal signs, and specifically for you, Aries. Okay, so this is the Seven of Pentacles, and it is, as we go into this year and perhaps throughout the whole year, it's a year to really enjoy all that you have achieved, all that you have you know, all that you've worked for. You know that phrase, you know, be grateful for the things that you used to wish for, you know, for all the things you actually have, that our dreams come true, that our labors repaid, you know, or paid off, that you've worked hard and you've worked truly from your heart, and look at this beauteous, bountiful life that you have. And if it's not feeling that way, look for even the one thing per day that does feel that way, that feels like bounty, that feels like beauty, that feels like comfort, that feels like love. Okay? And then Cancer. Okay, so it's this sort of new offering here for this year, a movement into a newness. And you have your familiars with you and the familiarity of yourself, but then also this sort of joyous instigation of new adventure. Okay? And Libra, it's a new sense of clarity, and it's a clearness of direction and promise and what's the word? Inspiration. You know, that's moving you forward this year in joy. Okay, and then for Capricorn, there's worry, Capricorn, and you are really moving into a new place, okay? And you also have the Knight of Cups. All right, so there's an overflow of and an offering from the universe, you know, through whatever means it winds its way into your life, of this love that will I want to say wash away these worries, you know, or at least reconfigure them so that it's not such a familiar habit and pattern of mind, but there's a receptivity to this, to the, you know, the courage of choosing something unfamiliar, even if what is unfamiliar is really in some sense easier than what is familiar. It still might take courage to move into that. All right. Okay, and now we're going to go on to what we have for the powers that our fixed signs are bringing in the new year with their place of tending the space in which the new may develop. Oh, and how nice. It's the Page of Wands. So it is a more earthly magic. So, you know, the cardinals have all this to choose from. You know, the wands, the cup, the sword, the pentacle. And here are our fixed signs, you know, bridge, you know, that space between earth and sky and land and water. And we stir and we tend and we, you know, hold this space. We are this space where the things can, you know, we talk about the portal and the flow and interplay of spaces in the field of time. And then for the fixed signs, it's so much about holding and being that space for creation to come into being and to progress, okay? And then, okay, so Leo has justice, and it's justice. I've been reading reversals as justice coming more easily than one might have expected. Justice comes as a whole. That's what Jill Stein says. And so within, the smallest measures of your days, hours, and minutes, and then also the biggest measures of these grand motions of time, justice, for yourself as a one creature on the earth, and then for all of us on the earth and in the universe, justice, we are coming into alignment, and have no doubt that your smallest movements are part of that. I realized that I turned the deck upside down, so I'm gonna there's an ease. I'm gonna turn it back now, but there's an ease, and there's also this ease appearing for Scorpio of a renewal in love, and the magic of connection, in our intimate relationships, and of balance, another kind of balance. So two kinds of balance coming more easily in the space that the fixed signs are holding for us all. For Aquarius, oh my goodness, Aquarius, you have the Ten of Swords. We're going to need to clarify that. So there's an ending. There's some sort of ending, and look at that. A very solid and worthy and able new beginning. Okay. So whatever is ending, it is the correct time for it to end in this field of time. And again, it's similar to what Capricorn got, to let go of the familiar and allow in something new, because the new will hold you in a gentler way, in a gentler and more, and for you as a fixed sign, a more solid, manner, which we need. And then Taurus, the King of Swords. So it's being seated in the clarity of your knowing and all, your experience behind you, but then also open. And look at the sweet look on this person's face. Open to what is next, and ready for it because of all that's come before. And look at the butterfly. Okay. And now we will move to, and I hope my phone that gives me room to get on to all of the mutable signs before we move on. So mutables, in your benevolence as holding the space and being the space for change. Oh, you get the Queen of Cups. How beautiful. So it's this loving container of gestation and flow, so all manner of, look at this, what a beautiful thing for mutability, as these growth, these healthy, joyous growths and changes. She looks a little tired, but it's a beautiful card. And she's crowned in her deep capability and her trust also in her body and her soul. Okay, so Sagittarius. Oh, so this, again, it's a happy clarity similar to what Taurus had. This movement forward that's not going to be stopped, and that is crowned in its own desiring and crowned in its fiery impulsiveness, but not in a harsh or harmful way. To be able to, to not be ashamed or constricted or constrained in your methods of expressing your joy, Sagittarius. And then Pisces. So bringing into a balance and an understanding and a sort of grounding, you know, like the sweet water at the edge of the continent, or a quenched thirst, and that mobility that you have, but then bringing it to a certain, again, absolutely no shame in the way that you move in this flowing manner. As I said to Sagittarius, you all move in this flowing manner: fire, water. But there's a way that there's a community spirit that is infused with absolute joy because of your very flowiness. Okay. So the celebration of that and this sort of making of space for that. And Gemini. So Gemini, you're the star that we all wish upon. Look at the way that you balance and bring in sort of an intellectual way, more intellectual than the Queen of Cups, and also the higher arcana. But you look at this looks like a little cloud that's somehow reading, even though it doesn't quite have a face. And this little bird, and you just bring so much joy just to the very act of like being embodied and living. And you're like, hey guys, let's do this. Okay, and then Virgo, you're so sweet, and you're just bringing, here, I'm going to help build this new earth, as each of us has our golden heart within us, our golden crown of thought, all the gold in all the places, and the sharing and the embodying of that. Love to all for 2019.